Actually, a story of true story where there was one, it was two businessmen. One was extremely successful, and the other guy was also successful, but not in the same level as the other guy. It was 10 times more. So you asked them, listen, what's your secret? How do you make all this? I do the same business. We're both in the clothing business. Yeah, we're both in the clothing business, but you're making 50 million plus, and I'm making 5 million gross. It's a big difference. I'm in business for 3 times longer than you. How do you do it? Because my secret is Maaseh. You ask him, what is Maaseh? What is this? What is that? Okay, so you give 10%? He goes, yeah. So the guy says, okay, you know what? Listen, I made 5 million last year. I should make 5 million this year. So, okay, so that's what I plan on giving. So you work off of that. After the first year was over, he didn't see any change. So he said, okay, you know what? Listen, the economy looks like it's not really that good. I don't think I'm going to make 5 million again. I'm going to base my thing based off of 4 million. And he made 4 million that year. So he said, oh, okay, this is not really working out for me. I think the economy is even worse now. I'm going to give him maybe only 250 this year because I think we have to make up for last year. What happened? He made 2.5 million. And this continued for a couple of more years until he got down to the point where he was making only $500,000. So he goes back, he runs into the other guy again. He says, listen, I don't understand. How did it happen? He says, what did you do? He goes, I did. And he told him the whole story. He goes, oh, so you were trying to play with Hashem by telling him what you're going to make, and you were giving your money based on that. No, you're supposed to give it based on what you make, and not put your own logic into it. Don't worry about what the economy is doing or what's going to happen next year. You make, you pay. Don't worry about saving or anything like that. If you give it, if you have the emunah, especially during difficult times, then you're giving Hashem a reason to give you more. And also it depends on what you're giving it for. If you give your maaseh to, building another unnecessary Beit Knesset. We have many. I'm not saying Beit Knesset is unnecessary, but there are so many relative to the amount of Jews we have in the world. We don't need any more. It's strange that there are certain communities where you have, 30 Jews, 3 Beit Knessets. It's not exactly, necessary. Or some Beit Knesset that have, 150 Sifrei Torah. It's not necessary. There are certain things that are just not necessary. So if you give it for things like that because you want the fame and you want to have your name on the building and everyone to know that every time they go into the door they have your name on it, or every time they open a Sefer Torah, maybe once a year because there's so many already, you tell everybody, oh, that's my Sefer, that's my book. If you're doing it for that, then it's not exactly, you're not really giving Hashem a reason to give you more. You're not helping Lagdir Torah v'la'adir. You're not actually helping publicize Torah and doing what Hashem wants us to do in this world. If you're giving it to Talmidim Chachamim, if you're giving it for people that are doing Kiruv, if you're giving it to save souls and help pre-existing souls, then okay, great. Then you're giving Hashem a reason. But if you're giving it to some, Jewish Federation Fund type of cause because they have a Hanukkah party once a year, it's not exactly the right reason, put it that way. So it's very, very important to note to give it to the right places, because when we give it to the right places, then we're giving Hashem a reason to give us more. We don't. It could actually. I forgot what was the name. Ben Gurion, the Gemara, was one of the 3 richest men. Akdimon Ben Gurion was one of the 3 richest men in Am Yisrael that financed all of Am Yisrael for 3 years. One day, Gemara says that they see his daughter going through the excrement, the poop of the horse. The rabbi says, what are you doing? He says, I'm looking for food. Looking for food? Your father's a big, wealthy man. No, not anymore. I lost everything. Lost everything until the point where you're looking through food? What do you mean? Your father gave a lot of tzedakah. How can it happen? He says he didn't give enough. And this is one of the people that financed all of Am Yisrael. But based on how much he had, he didn't give enough. So it's very, very, very important for us to give what we're supposed to give. Not what we think is enough or what we could think is a lot. I remember a long time ago, when business was good, we tried donating a few dollars, and one time, I don't know, we were at one of these auctions they have at the Beit Knesset, And instead of going through the whole bidding process, I just threw a big number that I didn't think anyone else would challenge because I just wanted to give the money. And I wasn't righteous, I just wanted to give some money. Anyway, everybody kept looking at me strange, like, why'd you give so much? You could have got it for cheap, no one was going to compete with you. And to this day, I look at it and I'm like, I'm not trying to get a sale, I'm just trying to give some money to help people out. And that mentality that you're supposed to save money on tzedakah, or when a rabbi says, listen, this mezuzah is mamash, it's a special mezuzah, it's $150, like, oh, you have something cheaper? You have a $60 mezuzah? You have a $70 mezuzah? Or you tell them tefillin, good tefillin, it's $1,000, $1,200, $1,500. You have something for $350, you have something for $400, you have something for $150? But let me see that same person ask, when they go buy a car, and they say, listen, this car is $50,000, but if you want the, navigation system, it's an extra $4,000. Do you have one for $400? No, they don't do that. They're like, okay, throw that on. Okay, with power windows, another $4,000. Oh yeah, that too. The extra, whatever, Bluetooth, another $3,000. Oh yeah, definitely, double that. Can I get two of those? There's no question. There's no negotiation when it comes to this world, the material world. When it comes to mezuzah, from $60 to $100, oh, it's a big deal. So again, it's important for us to give not only the right amounts, but remember what we're doing here.
Show the value that you give to the mitzvah.
100%. And unfortunately, even though everything that we're saying today, there's no real chidushim, anything that we're saying here is really to remind us of what we already know, because it's important for us to acknowledge this stuff, because it's very easy to get into something, and you're living in this world, and you want to do a mitzvah, and you want to give some money, but then you say, you know what, maybe I'll get it cheaper somewhere else, or maybe I'll do this. Sometimes when you think about it, you realize, wait a minute, Parnasai is from Shamayim anyway. If I'm doing this, Hashem told us we're not going to get hurt of doing any mitzvah. If we got hurt every time we did mitzvah, no one would do a mitzvah anymore. So Hashem obviously told us, if we're doing a mitzvah, He's paying for it. If we're doing what He wants, why should there be any bad consequence out of it? So if you're doing it with that that state of mind, then it makes it much easier to spend that time to give the money to the guy, and that extra time you would have spent saving money, going somewhere else, or negotiating or anything like that. You learn another page of Gemara, you learn an extra verse or anything else. Trust me when I tell you, it'll yield a lot more benefit than the extra money that you save, whether it's 20 or 50 or 500.
When you pay for your kids' Jewish education, is that maaseh?
It's a necessary expense, not a maaseh.
No.
It's a necessary expense.
No, but it's part of
It's not tzedakah.
It's part of
It's not
20%.
tzedakah.
It's part of 20%. There's 10%.
No, the your yeshiva, from what my knowledge, is not considered maaseh.
The English classes considered
Part of
maser. The Judaic studies is not maser.
What do you mean, the English classes?
Okay, when you send your kids to private school, half the tuition covers their English classes, which is not mandatory by Jewish law. But teaching Torah is mandatory, so you can't...
So you're saying to teach your kids English is considered part of the maaseh?
Yes, because it's going to the...
Who said this?
Going to school.
I inquired about it.
Who said it?
A rabbi.
No, there's 10% for maaseh.
But who gets the benefits?
Why would
The money...
I'm not saying it's wrong. I don't know who this rabbi is, but I don't know why secular studies would ever be part of a maaseh.
Because you're giving it's considered a donation.
To learn secular studies, so saying, okay, so I give college tuition as maaseh also.
No. But you're giving it for a Jewish cause, to have
To learn English?
facility. Giving
the
money
general
towards...
General school from the school.
If you're not giving a donation to the school.
Listen, I'm not a posek. I just never heard anything like that. Maybe you're right. Possible. I don't know.
I've learned that there's 10% for maaseh and 10% for anything else which is related to your education, learning Jewish education, learning Torah, the education for your children, and so on. The other 10%.
Okay, but as far as just the English studies being maaseh, I don't know. Never heard of it. I'll check in. I'll look into it. I'll ask. I never heard of it, but could be a chidush. Chazak u'baruch. Moving on, we have the next thing is that happens in this parasha after after Miriam dies, we get the water stops. We complain to Moshe Rabbeinu. But at the same token, what is Hashem expecting us not to have water? So when we're talking about those people that believe that there are certain circumstances that they have today will last forever, it leads them to do something foolish, which is to ask for help, but in the wrong way. It's like people that say, listen, Hashem, if you're here, give me a sign, make an earthquake or something like that. So everybody has to suffer because you want a sign? Or, if people ask for things if they, they ask for their parents the wrong way. If they want money from their parents, they, instead of saying, Abba, Ima, please help me out, I need money for food, or I need money for this, like, what do you expect me not to eat? Like one of those attitudes. And because of that, bad things can happen. In this particular parasha, bad things happened. We got punished for it. It wasn't necessarily that Hashem expected us not to have water, but the way we asked of complaining again countless times, Moshe Rabbeinu takes his staff after Hashem tells him, listen, go
Speak to it.
speak to the rock, and the water will come out. So he says, ויקהילו משה ואהרון את הקהל על פני הסלע, ויאמר להם, שמעו נא המורים, אמין הסלע הזה נוצאים לכם מים. So he says to them, listen now, O rebels. Shall we bring forth water for you from this rock? So he's angry at them. Chazal explains to us that the rock that he was looking for, which is the rock that was bringing all this water, is the same rock that he actually hit 40 years early. He was instructed to hit this rock and water came out. This time Hashem told him to speak to this rock, and Moshe got angry because he couldn't find the rock. So he decided to hit the rock twice, and water came out. And because of that, Moshe and Aaron got punished, where they weren't allowed to go into Israel. This is a very famous story. It's very hard to understand really why this was considered such a grave sin. Okay, you hit the rock, speak to the rock. You're Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay, you're entitled to a sin here and there.
Well, it says in the Torah, he didn't sanctify Hashem.
Right.
He didn't do Kiddush
One of
Hashem.
the things that the big explanation is that we missed out on an opportunity to do Kiddush Hashem.
Uh-huh.
And to do Kiddush Hashem is one of our purposes in this world. You have to live a life with the purpose of doing Kiddush Hashem. One of the things we learned from last week's parasha, and a few times we've spoken about it in the past, but there's a few new people here, that's a nice way to understand something that's in our prayer every day, is that when Moshe challenges Korach, he says, you bring your ktolet, I bring my ktolet, and we'll see who's right. Now you read in prayer every day, twice a day. There's ktolet, right? You read the ktolet. There's 11 parts, and Rabbi Natan says that if you miss out on if you put the right amount, the wrong amount, chayav mitah.
If you miss one.
And when you think about it, isn't that a little extreme? Okay, there's 11 parts. I didn't put the right amount in one of them, or I forgot. I put 10. I put 10. Okay, I messed up. Fire me. What are you killing me for? It's a little extreme. You guys ever ask yourself, why is it such an extreme punishment? You read it twice a day. Twice a day you're reading something that if you were the guy that was doing it and you made a mistake, you get death penalty. There's a lot of things that we do wrong every day, we don't get a death penalty. For Ktolet, for an incense, offering, you get a death penalty. The beautiful part about it is that Moshe Rabbeinu knew this. Knew it's chayav mitah. That's why he offered it to Korach. If you do it the wrong way, chayav mitah. Meaning that one of us has to die here. It cannot be that both of us stay in this world. This is actually part of the reason why Am Yisrael got mad at him and said, your challenge was a little bit too harsh. Why did you have to use such extreme measures? So why is it chayav mitah? Why is it if I make a mistake doing the Torah, I'm trying to do Kiddush Hashem, like they're telling me over here, I'm trying to do Kiddush Hashem, right? I messed up. Okay, I put 10 parts. 10 tavlinim. Tomorrow, I'm not going to do it. I promise. I learned from my lessons. Right? But over here says no second chance. What do you think?
Is he in B'shogeg? B'shogeg, you also have me then?
If?
You do B'shogeg, the accident.
Chavita. Of course, if you're putting only 10 parts, you're not doing it on purpose.
Again, I'm talking about the command.
You're not going dafka, Hashem, mezid, chayav mitah anyway. Chayav mitah just for thinking mezid. But, shogeg, yeah, chayav mitah. No, it's anyone that's doing Ktoret. Anyone's doing Ktoret.
Anyone can do that.
Anyone's doing the Ktoret. It's Kohanim. It's not Kohen HaGadol. Kohanim. There's Ktoret regularly. It wasn't just Yom Kippur Ktoret. Ktoret was regular. Something that they were doing regularly. Okay, Kedusha. A lot of things are Kedusha. You make a mistake with the sacrifice. You don't get. You take one of the korbanot. You take one of the. Let's say you take one of these big. Actually, you know what? Take the red cow, the red heifer, and you're supposed to slaughter it. You slaughter it the wrong way. No one says chayav mitah. It's only 9 of them in existence in history. Only 9. No chayav mitah. But the incense that I do regularly, chayav mitah. Death penalty. This is one of the most amazing things that I learned since I started learning Torah that I found in this. First, we have to understand what is the significance of the Ktoret. What is the significance of the incense? What does it do? Chazal explains to us that when the incense comes out, it creates a pillar of smoke. And the pillar of smoke is so unique that even if a strong wind comes, it does not move this pillar. Looks like a building. Okay, great. Now there's 3 types of people that saw this pillar of smoke. The first ones were the people around the camp. In the desert, around the camp, the Jewish camp. Big camp, 3 square miles. All the people. It's millions of people. Am Yisrael is in the desert for 40 years. They have the Mishkan, they have the tabernacle, they have everything there. They do the Ktoret. They see this pillar of smoke. Millions of people are seeing it. It's beautiful. Why is it significant? Someone that's in the camp is like us. They have emunah issues. My wife is not nice to me. My kids are not so good. My parnassah is not coming in on time. I have some extra bills I can't pay. They have emunah issues. They look up. They see the Ktoret. They see this pillar of smoke. Yesh Elohim. Okay. Now I know if they're talking to God, I know it's okay. Hashem's going to take care of it. So you're helping someone, believe in Hashem. Okay. Second guy is the guy that didn't see the incense. He already left the camp. He's like, I'm tired of these Jews. They have all these strange rules in the Bet Knesset. One of them wants to give a lecture. The other one wants to sing. One of them wants to be a chazan. The other one wants to be a chazan. This one doesn't even know that he's not even allowed to be a chazan because he's married to a goya. This one is all these strange things. He doesn't like it. He's tired of all of them. He wants to leave the camp. Tired of all these people. Leaving Judaism because of bad Jews. He leaves the camp. What do you do when you go far away? Once in a while you turn around. See, how far am I? Check. He turns around. What does he see? He sees the pillar of smoke again. Judaism is not a religion of people. Doesn't matter if there's good Jews, bad Jews. Judaism is about Torah and connection to Hashem. Whether there was Jews or not, you still have to be a Jew. You still have to do Torah. If you are a Jew in an island by yourself, you still have to do Torah and mitzvot. So whether there's good ones or not is irrelevant. So what did you do there? That's kiruv. You're reminding that guy, Judaism is not about the Jews. Judaism is about Torah. As he sees the pillar of smoke. The third one is all the goyim, all the other nations. They were looking at the candle like, why does Hashem give all these Jews such gifts? Pillar of smoke, a cloud, they don't have to take showers, they don't have to do their laundry, does it for them. There's miracles, he gives them parnasah from Shamayim literally every day. The man comes from Shamayim every day. For what? What do they do? They look, oh, they're doing what Hashem wants. They're doing the incense. We don't do what Hashem wants. We have a little rat that we worship. Or some statue we bought in Chinatown. What is that? Kiddush Hashem. So now we know why it's important, the incense. But why is the chayav mitah? If someone made a mistake with the incense, the pillar of smoke does not exist anymore. Rambam says it becomes ish zara, a foreign fire, not the same. Meaning the pillar of smoke does not appear. So the guy that has emunah issues, he looks up, he sees nothing. He gets worse. He becomes the guy that becomes the kiruv problem. The guy that goes the kiruv problem left the people because he thinks it's a bunch of bad Jews. He turns around, he doesn't see the pillar. He just sees a bunch of bad Jews. He's reminded of why he left. Oh, he's even farther. You lost the guy forever. And the foreign nations, they're asking, why is Hashem doing all this? They also see nothing. So they think that Hashem made a problem, made a mistake. Chas v'chalila. That becomes chilul Hashem. And for chilul Hashem, chayav mitah. Chilul Hashem is chayav mitah. Chilul Hashem is one of the three sins where unless there's a tshuva in this world, which is almost impossible to make, it's one of the three worst sins that a Jew can make in their life. So here we learn that when Moshe Rabbeinu missed an opportunity to do Kiddush Hashem, in his level, it wasn't Chilul Hashem, but it was the missed opportunity that to us is almost the equivalent of Chilul Hashem. That's why he got such a severe punishment. Again, this is one of the explanations. We can't really know all of the cheshbonot of Shamayim. One of the other things that we also know about Moshe Rabbeinu, that if he would have come to Eretz Yisrael, the minute he would have built the Beit HaMikdash, and the minute Am Yisrael would have sinned, then Hashem would have had to destroy Am Yisrael. Because everything that Moshe Rabbeinu built was permanent. The tabernacle that he built in the desert was more significant than the first and the second Beit HaMikdash. So if he would have built the Beit HaMikdash, Hashem would have not destroyed it. So when the Yetzer Hara, the Satan would have come to Hashem and says, listen, they're doing idol worship, they're doing this, they're doing that, you have to destroy them. What he actually did, because Moshe Rabbeinu didn't build it, what did he do? He said, no, I'll destroy my own house. I'd rather destroy my own house than my own people. If Moshe Rabbeinu would have built it, he couldn't have that excuse. Because Hashem, when he created the world, he created rules for himself. He limited himself, which is also part of the reason why Chilul Shabbat is so significant. Hashem did not need 6 days to build the world. Hashem technically built everything in an instant. He didn't do, you know what, today I'm going to hire these construction companies and they're going to do Shamayim. Tomorrow I'm going to put this thing together, I'm going to put the sun and the moon. The next day I'm going to put all the animals. The next day I'm going to do... No, he didn't do all of this. He created everything in an instant, which means that he created the week by minimizing himself so we can have Shabbat. So Hashem says, if I minimized myself for you, and I'm not good enough for you to minimize yourself, can't get worse than that. You can't be a bigger criminal against Hashem. Because the whole thing is for you, it's not for him. He doesn't need Shabbat. Next thing is we see something very interesting. You can pass these 3 pictures around. We talk about Aaron HaKohen dies. Aaron HaKohen dies, and it says that they go up to Mount Hur, which the literal meaning for that is the mountain of mountains. I'll tell you in a second. The mountain of mountains. If you actually look, there's a mountain in that area. I'll show you in the Coming Revolution or Science Comes of Age that Rabbi Zamir Cohen wrote. There's actually a mountain in one of the pictures that has a mountain on top of a mountain. It's like a small mountain on top of a big mountain. So that's actually Al, the mountain of mountains. Yeah. So, but in that area, anyway, so they're talking about this mountain, but also they talk about how Aaron dies. So the area, in essence, is a known area. The exact location, not so sure. But as somebody that took some satellite pictures, you could do it on yourself. You know, there's actually a video I could give you guys after the shiur. Someone took a bunch of interesting satellite pictures, and there's actually on the ground, there's a picture of, I think it's pretty obvious, an old man with a beard and a hood and a thing. He calls it Aaron. I think it's very interesting. It's right next to Eretz Yisrael, which would be where this location is. There's a few other interesting images on the ground that you see, and this is actually what you see from a satellite. The most interesting part about that picture that you're passing around is there's one that's actually more in the video. He goes into the picture, and you see there's mountains and so on, but then there's actually an image of the eye, and the eye part of the image is identical like an eye, like exactly how your eye looks, with a pupil, with the shape of the eye, and so on. It's very, very interesting. It's on the ground. Yeah.
From here?
Yeah, you don't see it in the middle, the thing that's circled. You see the profile of in the middle, something that's in the middle of the circle. No. Right there. No, left, in the middle, the thing that's in the circle. Do you see a profile of an old man in the hood?
No.
Beard, white beard. Profile. You don't see it? The dark part is the clothes. Then there's the face on top. And then there's the white beard.
That's the beard right here.
No. It's all of that. What you're pointing at is the black part. That's the clothes. And then there's on top. See it?
I'm Aaron.
Where is it?
I saw it right away, and I guess you have to pay attention to the details.
Where's the eye?
I printed it in colors.
Where's the eye?
Let me show you. Give it to me. I'll show it to you.
I'm an optometrist. Eyes I know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. Let's show it here. Okay, all right. Okay, let's see. Okay, here. So this is what we're looking. We're looking at, there's a whole picture.
Yeah.
We're only looking at the part that's in the circle. Right?
Yeah, what is that?
Okay. All of this is, assume, let's say it's like a black hoodie.
Okay.
Okay? Then over here, you have a face. It's tan color. You see a tan color?
Yeah.
There's the black thing is the eye, and the white over here is the beard. This is the face coming out of the face coming out of this black hoodie.
Yeah.
And this is right next to Eretz Yisrael. This is land. This is not somebody drew it. This is a huge lot of land, but it has the color from outer space. Looks like this. Looks like a man. He calls it Aaron. I think it's very interesting regardless. I don't know if it's Aaron or it's not Aaron. But it's very clear once you see the image. It's very, very interesting. See? The more interesting part is that if he was buried, this is actually the area that his grave would be.
Where?
It's good.
It's very tough to get a license. It's tough to get a license.
It's an image. He calls it Aaron. I think it's interesting. I don't know. I just know it's in that area. So after
I work for a big company.
After Aaron dies, it says that everyone wept for 30 days. Got it? I got some action. I woke everybody up.
Yeah, black card.
I knew this was going to get some action.
Yeah, good.
More printouts next time. More printouts. Ten, all of them. Same thing. The smaller versions of it, bigger versions of it.
The company won't give me a card. It's the only job I know that gives me off for Shabbat. Here, let me show you. There's no other company job in America.
So Aaron died and everybody... Aaron dies and everyone weeps. Chazal explains to us that they actually cried more for Aaron than they cried for Moshe Rabbeinu.
I have it.
The question is why more for Aaron than Moshe Rabbeinu? Because Aaron was known as the person that pursued peace. Aaron dedicated his entire life to make peace amongst Jews, to make connections. He saved, according to Chazal, he saved 22,000 marriages. And there were over 22,000 children that appeared after he died, all named Aaron. That the parents that were thinking about divorce stayed together, and the next kid that they had, they named them after Aaron, that kept them together. So when someone is there to make peace, when someone always wants good for everyone, two guys argued, instead of telling him, listen, he's right, you should forgive him, or he's right, you should forgive him, what did he do? He says, listen, the other guy really feels bad that he's not friends with you anymore. He really told me. So the guy is immediately, he's not thinking about the argument. He's thinking, why? He really feels bad he's not my friend anymore? I really always liked him. He goes to the other guy. He goes, you know what? The other guy on the right, he really feels bad. He hasn't seen you in a long time. He misses you. So the other guy also forgets about his own argument. It's like, oh, I really always liked him too. So the next time they get together, they're back to being friends. They forget about the argument. By the time they figure out that the story Aaron said was a completely made-up story, they're already friends anymore. They're already friends. That's what Aaron was. Aaron was Def Shalom. Aaron was a chaser of peace.
That's why when he passed away, everybody mourned.
Everybody mourned him. Everybody mourned him once he died. Moshe, on the other hand, Moshe Rabbeinu was responsible for rebuking the nation. Moshe was Ocheach tochiach et amitecha. Moshe was the one that was a mochiach. Moshe was the one that was rebuking the nation and telling them whenever they were doing something wrong. Not everyone likes Musar.
No.
And nothing changed 3,300 years later. Nothing changed. People until this day have a problem with Musar. They don't like people telling them what to do. But Shlomo HaMelech in Sefer Mishlei, in Proverbs, it says, Musar Adonai b'nei al timas v'al takotz b'tochachto ki et asher ye'av Adonai yochiach uke'av et ben yirtzeh. My child, do not despise Hashem's discipline, and do not despise His reproof, for Hashem admonishes the one He loves, and like a father, He mollifies the child. Someone that wants to get closer to Hashem needs to love Musar. Needs to love when someone is rebuking him and telling him, listen, you need to change. You know, if you're going to do the mitzvah, if you're really doing the mitzvah for Shem Shamayim, you need to do it the right way. But if you're putting your tefillin in the middle of your forehead instead of putting it over here, you have to fix it. If no one tells you because they're afraid they're going to offend you, then you can live, your whole life in doing tefillin the wrong way. And there's plenty of people like that. If you're driving to Big Knesset after 20 years on Shabbat and no one told you, guess what's going to happen? Both of you are going to go up to Shamayim. And they're going to say, listen, why did you keep Shabbat? He goes, no, I kept Shabbat. No, you drove. I didn't know I didn't have to drive. But you knew Yaron. Yeah, but Yaron never told me. Bring Yaron over here. Yaron, did you tell him? No, I was scared I was going to offend him. Oh, scared to offend him? Okay, let's go tell him that and get with him. 20 years you wasted of his life. You didn't tell him once. You're responsible to tell your brothers. Musar is important. Musar is part of life. In the old age, only until about 250 years ago, there was 3 types of lectures that the sages would give. Gan Eden, Gehenom, Musar. What gets us to Gan Eden, what gets us to Gehenom, and how to behave. Musar. That's it. There was no psychology and science, number 1. Psychology and science, number 3. The new version. Marriages. How do you take care of your kid? None of that stuff existed. It was just, what do we need to do as Jews? Gan Eden, Gehenom, Musar. And in essence, those 3 things technically take care of everything. But because we're so scared in our generation of offending people and turning them off so they don't come back to the Knesset and give more money to the Knesset, we forget the real purpose of life. Aaron was responsible for being the guy that loved everyone. He didn't rebuke anyone, but Moshe was. Everyone loved Aaron, but without Moshe, Aaron would be nothing. Without Moshe, there would not be any Aaron. And that's what we need to learn today, is that, yes, having the rabbi that tells you he loves you, and you're a tzaddik, and he gives you all these unnecessary compliments. Listen, only my people in my shiur are tzaddikim. Everybody else, I'm not so sure. But realistically, someone that gives you all these compliments, you need it. You need to know that you're doing a good job. When I was in the business world, I wasn't exactly the best praiser. Somebody would do a good job, I would expect him to do a good job. You make a lot of money, you're supposed to do a good job. I don't know why I need to tell you you're doing a good job every 3 seconds. But in the real world, people need to know that they're doing a good job. And that's one of the things you learn through experience. Same thing with religion. You need someone to tell you you're doing a good job for giving tzedakah, good job for having good shlom bayit, good job for being an example for the community, and so on and so forth.
Good job not driving on Shabbat.
Good job for not driving on Shabbat. It's good, it's important. But if you're only telling people good job, good job, good job, but you never tell them that they're doing something wrong, then what do they learn to think? They develop a mindset that they're perfect. And when someone develops that type of mindset, downhill is the only direction they can go to. After Aaron dies, we'll finish up in 10 minutes or so. After Aaron dies, the cloud disappears. The cloud that's been carrying them, the cloud that's been protecting them, the cloud that's been assisting them every step of the way for 40 years almost, disappears. Am Yisrael starts complaining again like they did with Miriam. But again, the wrong way. This time, Hashem punishes them in a different way. The first time the punishment was that, okay, you can have Moshe only for a limited amount of time. This is also a punishment to us, not just a punishment for Moshe Rabbeinu. This time he sends them snakes. And the snakes bite all of them, or most of them. And according to Chazal, they said the feeling they were getting that when they were bitten by these snakes was that they were on fire. Yeah, feeling they were on fire. Just like when a snake, why snakes? A snake doesn't ask the right way. He doesn't ask for food. He just takes it. He's not one of these animals like a dog that waits for his owner to give him food.
He's not polite.
That's the way we acted. That's the way we acted. We acted like that. And Hashem punished us, midah k'neged midah, measure for measure. There's other reasons also, but once we got punished, started seeing people die. Tons of people are dying. Moshe starts praying for us. He didn't get bit by a snake. And we realized we did something wrong. Am Yisrael realizes they did something wrong. They start doing tshuva. They tell Moshe Rabbeinu, we sinned. Please pray for us. He starts praying. And Hashem tells him the cure. Tells him, okay, make yourself a snake. Moshe Rabbeinu decides on his own to make the snake out of copper. And he puts it on top of a hill, forcing each person that's looking up at the snake to also look at Shemaim and remember that the only way Hashem is going to heal you is not if you look at this nonsensical snake. It's not. We didn't become idol worship overnight. It's to remind you who's really healing you. forces you to look at Shemayim. Even though technically Hashem is everywhere, and He's everything, for a way for us to understand is looking at Shemayim all the time. But in reality, according to the Zohar, Hashem is everything. One way that we can understand that scientifically is that everything we see in creation is made out of atoms. Everything is atoms. Everything is atoms. You have the proton, you have the neutron, it's the middle part, and the little ball around it. I'm sure you guys have seen it in science classes along the way. Now, science explains to us that everything we have, whether it's human beings or the wall or weapons of mass destruction or planes or everything, is made out of these atoms. Now, if you have the middle part's called a nucleus, and you have this ball around it, and it's spinning around it. Okay? But in reality, the difference between the two of them is not like this. In reality, the part in the middle is so much smaller than the part that's around it. The separation between them is the equivalent of between us and the sun. Big, big difference. So imagine a tiny, tiny little speck and the big one is something gigantic. So the distance between them is very, very significant. So much so that 99%, it's a little bit scientific, but try to follow me here. 99% of the atom is just space, empty space. There's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. So there's this little dot, and imagine the big dot is the size of this house, or even more. Much, much bigger. Something really, really big. Actually, yeah, drastically bigger than the house. But anyway, you get the point. And the separation between them is empty space. So how come we see everything as solid? How come this book is solid? How come the house is solid? How come he's solid, you're solid? How come everything is solid? How come we see everything? The way to understand it is if you ever look at a fan. When you look at a fan, it looks like there's only, when it's on, it looks like there's one blade. It's one blade, right? But we turn it off and it stops, there's 4 blades, or 3 blades, or 6 blades. How come you only see it as one blade? Because when it's going really fast, it looks like it's one single piece. Same concept with the atom. When it's going really, really fast, everything seems as if it's truly solid. But in reality, everything is not solid. Everything is almost non-existent. The actual material that exists in the universe could all fit in a box of matches. Meaning that if the atom ever stopped spinning, because it spins really, really fast, so it looks solid. This phone looks solid. If the atom stopped spinning, then the empty space would be exposed. Just like the 4 blades are exposed in a fan. Right? When you stop the fan. So if the empty space is exposed, then the 2 pieces would fall apart. There would be, and you'd have actually the only thing that's left is substance. And the substance of the entire universe is so minimal that it could all fit into a box of matches. To us, huh?
You feel the empty space in the fan. So then it's only me fool because I see it. I feel it. But
Yes.
So why do you feel like that? The fan
With the fan it's going much slower than an atom. With an atom it's going so much faster that everything you're touching feels as if you're only feeling the space. You're only feeling the solid part that's there because it's constantly spinning. It's spinning too fast for you to feel the empty space. But if you ever look at it through a very, very, very high lens microscope, you'll see the atoms in everything. Everything is little atoms, and it's extraordinary that we see everything as solid. It's extraordinary that we're even here. To us, everything is normal. The truth is that everything that Hashem created is for our benefit. The only reason He keeps that atom spinning is for our benefit. For those people that don't believe in God, this is one of the ways you prove that God exists. Because the atom is not connected to a battery. So the question is, who's keeping it spinning? Because if it stops spinning, this is scientific evidence. This is scientific fact. An atom is what. This is exactly what an atom is made up of. Scientific fact. This is not like a religious fact. This is science. So, if the atom stops spinning, the subject will disappear. So, let's say if the atoms in this thing stop spinning, it wouldn't like fall. You wouldn't see like little pieces fall on my paper over here. It would just disappear because the actual material in this phone is so minute that you wouldn't see it once the atom stops spinning. I know it's hard to understand, but this is science. This is what Hashem does. So to us, everything is what we see it as. To Hashem, technically, it's a very, very different look. It's a very, very different look on the world. When we do mitzvot, we fill up that atom with the soul, with something spiritual. When we do nothing, when we live our life for this world, then we become like anything else. We become like the wall, we become like the car, we become like nothing. We become empty space. That by itself is a reason to keep doing mitzvot, because it gives Hashem a reason to keep the atom spinning for us. So if Moshe Rabbeinu put this serpent on top of the mountain, everyone looked up, he saved them. This brought them back to life. This helped them get rid of this fire feeling.
Why a statue of anything? It could lead people to worship a snake, the snake statue, whatever it is.
Because he put it on top of the mountain.
He put it on top of the mountain to make people look up, give something. People need something physical sometimes. And it was also symbolizing the type of sin that they did.
What's to say that their perception is going to pass beyond the snake and look at Hashem? Or the possibility that they'll see the snake and now say, oh, the snake is now curing us, the snake statue.
No, that's the thing. That's what I tried to explain before. My fault for not explaining well. When they looked up, they would look at Shemaim also. If they didn't truly repent, they died.
Okay.
It wasn't an optional, maybe it's the snake, maybe it's God. They're dying, they're on fire, what they're feeling is they're on fire, they're dying. And they're looking up now. He's telling them, look at me. He's giving them something to look at. So, it's not like a tiny little thing is, look at my little box. It's a big thing. They're looking at something because they need something physical to look at, which forces them to look at Shemaim, and they feel sorry for what they're doing. And if they're truly sorry for what they're doing for the right reasons, Hashem lets them live. Hashem cures them. If they don't, they die. That's what, according to Chazal, what they said. Now, the nation does tshuva, and they're giving a reason for Hashem to not only let them live, but to protect them. That's why when the Amorites tried to trap them by hiding in this in between these two mountains, they wanted to attack them. And this, according to Masechet Brachot, this is one of the 8 miracles where if you know the location, you're supposed to do a special blessing. Because Hashem did it where when they were hiding and they were waiting for Am Yisrael to go through this hill, through this valley. And as soon as they go through the valley, they attack them. So Hashem didn't let that happen. So what did he do? He made both of the mountains collide and kill all of those people. Now once Am Yisrael went through the valley, they didn't know all of this happened. They only found out because there was 2 people that had sarat, that had a disease, that were outside of the nation, outside of the camp, that were following the whole camp. And by the time everyone else passed,
They saw everything.
They just passed. They passed everything. Everyone already passed the mountain. They didn't know anything happened. And the last 2 finished going through the valley, and the 2 mountains started coming apart. When the 2 mountains started coming apart, all the blood started flowing down. Huge amount of blood started flowing down, and actually even went into the river of water that the Am Yisrael had following them. And that was one of the ways that Am Yisrael actually knew that Hashem just did a huge miracle for them. which made them sing for him and praise him. The purpose of this miracle is again to show us that even if we don't see something, even if we don't see how Hashem is protecting us, even if we don't see how Hashem is helping us, it doesn't mean He's not doing it. Going back to the depressed people that we were talking about before, when those people have a mindset that their miserable feeling is going to last forever, they have to remember that Hashem is doing it there's a real reason for it. There's always a purpose for everything that He does. Even though initially it's bad, you're seeing it as bad, everything that He does is good. Everything. So you ask yourself, well, how could losing my job be good? How could losing money be good? Because you're seeing it with just a small version of the picture. You're seeing just today. You're seeing just yesterday. Maybe you're even seeing, you have arrived to tomorrow. But overall, you're seeing a short-term picture. Hashem sees the entire picture. The past, the present, and the future are all the same exact time for Hashem. He sees everything. So, when He does something for you, even if it's in essence a punishment, there's always going to be some type of good that comes out of it. There's always going to be some type of benefit that comes out of it. If someone that's in a terrible situation, whether it's monetarily or anything else, if they realize that there's a boss in Shamayim, it makes it very easy to know that everything that Hashem does, just like Rabbi Akiva said, everything that Hashem does is the best. Meaning that if the boss in Shamayim is taking care of me, and there's a reason of why He did this. I don't know why. I don't understand why I don't have Parnassah right now. I don't understand why I'm having a tough time in a bunch of other places. But something good's going to come out of it. Makes it much easier to not get into the depression. If someone is already in this depression, when they learn this lesson, it makes it a little easier to come out of this depression. Mm-hmm. But someone that doesn't know this and thinks that everything is in their own hands, it makes it nearly impossible to get out. Because to get into it is very, very easy. Because you're thinking that everything is in your hands. So if the money is lost, it took you 25 years to make the money, that means that logically it should take you another 25 years to make the money again. So you have to waste another 25 years. So net you have to waste 50 years for the same money. That's incomprehensible. It's too difficult. Right? So if you use your own logic, it's impossible to deal with. If you realize that everything is from Shamayim, like Nisan said, then it makes it a little bit easier to deal with. Like, okay, Hashem has a big bank account. He can give me the money in less than 25 years. Okay, I will do it tomorrow. Hashem could find me a better girl. Hashem could find me a better husband. Hashem could do a lot of things. He is unlimited. Makes it much easier to get out of this depression. And then, as far as the guy that's getting into it, also very easy to stay away from it when you know that everything has a reason for it. So, there's countless other lessons we can learn from the parasha, but I think overall we've covered most of it, at least to my own knowledge. Unless you guys have any questions. Anything? Go ahead.
They say, okay, so we ask why Hashem doesn't show Himself now, why we don't get to know. So that the concept that if He does, it takes away free choice.
No, He showed Himself to me in the desert for 40.
No.
Same thing. If it's written in the Torah, it's something that's relevant today.
He doesn't do the miracles He did back then. There's no
He doesn't do it.
Signs that yes, Hashem.
How about the red cow? That's a sign.
No, the reason for it, you're in the right direction. The reason for it is because when Am Yisrael sinned in those days, their punishment was immediate. Tzlofchad, that was the first Mechalel Shabbat. Mm-hmm. We learned about him recently. He was the first Mechalel Shabbat in history, right? Even though he meant well, when Moshe Rabbeinu asked Hashem, what should I do with him? He said, kill him in front of everyone. Mechalel Shabbat, mot yumat. That's it, dead. No, maybe he didn't mean it. maybe it was shogeg, maybe this, maybe that. It's only the second Shabbat, meaning we kept Shabbat, first Shabbat, we got Torah, we kept Shabbat, right? Before that, we weren't obligated with Shabbat. Even though they say that Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov kept Shabbat. One second. Even though they said that Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov kept Shabbat, and other major people kept Shabbat in different parts of the Torah, they weren't obligated like we were once we got the Torah. We got the Torah, we kept Shabbat. The second Shabbat, Tzlofchad violates it. Which means that the whole nation wasn't necessarily used to Shabbat yet. It's only the second one. It's only my second day in school. I'm not used to this teacher yet, right? So if it wasn't a big deal, then if Hashem would be forgiven for Mechalel Shabbat, this would be the time where he would show it. Meaning that it's only the second one. He could say, listen, Tzlofchad meant well. He was actually trying to help people see the significance of Shabbat and so on and so forth. But the point is that he didn't mean to go against Hashem. So give him a pass. Make Hashem say, you know what, it's not a big deal. It's on me, don't worry about it. Hashem said, no, kill him in front of everyone. The same concept with many of the other sins that we did. Whether it's in this parasha, where we asked things the wrong way, he punished us with the snakes. Or in last week's parasha, where we had Korach go make a big Chilul Hashem and go against Hashem and Moshe Rabbeinu, killed him and all of his people on the spot. Or before that, the Meraglim reported did Lashon Hara and a bunch of other things, killed them on the spot. So the punishment was immediate. Why? Because all of them saw Hashem's words and heard his voice in Mount Sinai. It wasn't just a possibility of whether God existed, like it is for us. For them, it was 100%. They all knew. All of them were prophets. Even the person that was the lowest person in all of the nation, was a bigger prophet than Ezekiel. But all of those miracles that they saw every single day did not keep them righteous.
So that's exactly my point.
So now, Hashem sees that despite all of these miracles, despite all of this extraordinary show that they see every single day, it's not keeping them righteous. Meaning that everything is from Shamayim except Yirat Shamayim directly applies to this. Meaning that whether they will fear me or not has nothing to do with whether they see me or not. Has nothing to do with whether they see a miracle or not. It's their choice. The free choice that Hashem gives us is up to us.
What would the atheists claim be in a situation like that?
As far as?
I know there isn't.
As far as how come Hashem doesn't show himself?
Meaning that back then the problem that they had was they would just say, "Oh, Hashem can do this, but he can't do that. He is, but he can't do that." But now what he's asking is that's even worse because there are people that really believe that there is no God.
Yes.
So I'm saying so in the world he is describing, there wouldn't be such a thing.
Yeah, but the thing is though is that for them to finalize his question and answer yours is that since they had direct proof that God exists, there's never an element of doubt. Hashem punished them right away. Us, on the other hand, we always have an element of doubt. Especially the people that don't learn Torah. We have an element of doubt. Listen, I don't know if Shabbat is really a rabbi's rule or Shabbat Hashem said. I never read the Torah, so I don't know. I don't know if kosher is really some rabbi's mafia that they made these strange rules for the meat, or it's really a rule from Shamayim. I don't know. I don't know if Hashem really exists. I haven't seen him. He hasn't come down to talk to me through a burning bush like he did for Moses. So, I don't know. So there's always an element of doubt. Because there's always an element of doubt, that buys us more time to do tshuva. It buys us more time to do tshuva, and Hashem doesn't punish us immediately. Because if Hashem punished us immediately, every time somebody would light a cigarette on Shabbat, it would immediately explode. Somebody drives on Shabbat, the car would explode, they would die. What would happen? People would stop living. Shh. So, what would happen is people would be afraid to live. No one would smoke a cigarette at all, ever. No one would drive a car, ever. No one would want to live their house. It would eliminate our free choice, like Tomer said, as far as overall purpose. That's why Hashem does not show himself now. And it gives us more time to do tshuva.
In the midbar, did he show himself like we had no chance to do tshuva?
In the midbar,
In the desert.
we see it. We made a sin, we got punished immediately.
But it was like one after the other.
Yes, and we immediately got punished. Oh, again and again and again.
So from the complaining about the man, and then
And they got punished.
They went to Israel.
And he got punished.
But they saw the whole miracle.
So one after the other, they're getting an example. Don't sin against me.
And they
then
still
do
do
it. I don't get it.
Okay, that's my point is it doesn't help emunah. It does not help righteousness. It does not help righteousness. It helps the belief that God exists.
It's just the problem.
But the righteousness is up to us. Now to finalize it and answer your question, what keeps someone righteous is their own choice and connecting to Hashem, wanting a desire to be righteous. You have to want to be righteous. Now, the way to do it is by doing Torah, by doing mitzvot, by doing what Hashem says, because the more connected you are to the source, the more you want to be part of the source. When you're disconnected from the source, little by little you forget why you're even doing it. Now, as far as explaining the atheist, how is it possible that these people made these sins? Unfortunately, their answer is too difficult for them to understand. Why? Because they don't believe in Yetzer Hara. An atheist does not believe in Yetzer Hara. The real answer is why did Am Yisrael sin? Is because the bigger the sage, the bigger the Torah, the bigger the Kedusha in a person, the bigger their Yetzer Hara. That's one of the things that you see today, you see throughout history. How is it possible that people that knew so much Torah made huge giant sins? Not just in Am Yisrael and Midbar, but Menashe and a bunch of other people, Yovam. These people that knew the entire Torah in a way that we can only imagine is even possible, sinned against Hashem in a way that we would never think is possible. How is it possible? Because the Yetzer Hara is not something that comes up in proportion to us like we think. The Yetzer Hara adds different tricks, meaning that for someone that's, let's say, for example, just a Baal Tshuva, just started out right now, for him, his Yetzer Hara is not idol worship. His Yetzer Hara is, do I do tefillin on time or not? Do I do Kriyat Shema today? Do I keep Shabbat or not? Do I eat Subway or do I eat kosher? For him, that's his Yetzer Hara. So Yetzer Hara, annoys him over there. But someone that's been righteous for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, he's not going to go to the Yetzer Hara, he's not going to go to the guy and say, are you going to do tefillin or not? He's not going to go to the Gdol Ador and say, oh, listen, you're going to keep Shabbat or not. That's already part of them. That's already chakuk. It's already it's engraved in him. So the Yetzer Hara for those people, for the big sages, and for the Dol Adea in the Mitzrayim, the Yetzer Hara was very different. The Yetzer Hara was waiting for them around the corner for something big. It wasn't daily, like us. It wasn't every 3 seconds you have a Yetzer Hara to do something wrong. For them, it was something significant. And the Yetzer Hara was constantly, it was a huge Yetzer Hara, something we can't even imagine, but it was constantly waiting for the moment of weakness. It's a much more sophisticated Yetzer Hara. And that's why you see that throughout history, the bigger the sage, the bigger the sin. Small sins they didn't do. Only really, really big ones. Because their Yetzer Hara was much different than ours. So the atheist won't believe in the Yetzer Hara. The atheist's answer is proving God exists in the first place. Talking about Mitzrayim is irrelevant for them. Proving Mitzrayim existed, proving Al Sinai existed, that we can do in about 10 minutes. Because first you have to believe that there's even possible.
No, I'm saying though, if he would ever reveal himself,
If he would reveal himself,
now, and the atheists wouldn't exist.
to a certain extent, but it wouldn't stop them from sinning.